G'day, Ben from Melbourne here. Today we've got a special video. Those of you who are a bit sharper than the average butter knife can probably already see I have a guest on today. He goes by many names: the High Priest of Competitions and Threads, No Logo Brian, Country Brian. He's the most complicated and misunderstood thing that's come out of Canada since Rush. The Golden God from Toronto, coming tariff-free, Brian the Embryonic Robot.
Can I borrow
Thanks.
that intro for some other purpose?
Go for it.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So today we're going to try something like an interview, and hopefully this will be an ongoing thing with members of the VC. And Brian was kind enough to put up his hand to be the first victim. So we'll see how we go. So I'm not sure what I'm going to call this yet. A few things have come to mind, like the toughest quiz in the vinyl community ever, grilled the VC, then it got dark and I had to kill the VC, and then the quiz for people who are into very specific things, or the study of the disturbed record collector's mind. So they're all possible options, which we might go with.
All right.
So are you ready, Brian?
Well, the best I can say is I hope so.
Okay, so just to explain, half of the questions I've sent to Brian because I feel like they were like ones which needed a little bit of homework, and then the other half to see how well he pivots and moves on the spot. But don't worry, I'm not going to make you do anything weird or anything like that. So
all right, good to know. Good to know.
it's all good. And you'll be awarded points for each question, depending on how I feel you answered them. You can get there's 12 questions and a bonus question, so you can get a perfect score of 13. And like all UK quiz shows, the score at the end is meaningless, and it's only for you to lord over other VC members once we record these.
Okay, all right, good to know.
All right, let's get into it. Question number 1. Justify your YouTube VC existence. Why should we watch your channel and show a record that supports this?
Right. Well, I don't really think anyone should watch my channel. I didn't think anyone would, and honestly, I'm surprised anyone is. But I guess my answer is going to be, I'll get to the record in a minute, but I guess my answer is seriously going to be, like many people, I don't really know. Why should someone watch my channel? I don't think I'm a guy that has a lot of knowledge about music. Now, some people might disagree with that. I don't think I do. And, some people accuse me of being an encyclopedia. That's simply not true. I do look things up before I make videos, and then I quickly forget them. But I honestly believe that when I started this channel, maybe 20 or 30 people would watch, and that would be it. And I'd be happy making videos in my basement and chatting with a few people. But so yeah, this is not, like you said, homework was to be done here, and that's the best I could come up with, because honestly, I really don't know why people watch any channel. Well, I know why people watch some channel. I don't know why people watch my channel. I don't have any special production skills. I do some editing. I don't do a lot of editing. I don't think I'm the most interesting guy. I don't know. I'm struggling with this answer. When you gave me the questions, I struggled with it because I don't think I can justify my YouTube experience. But getting to the record, maybe I'll just get to the record. Okay. I mean, where else are you going to get a constant stream of like OMD information, right?
I was just about to say, you're not selling yourself, because there is that people who don't know your channel, they can go back and watch all 47 episodes of your OMD feature.
Right. Now, I could have talked about the John Cale series, which is ongoing, but it's just started. But this is live at the Royal Albert Hall in 2022. Now, do we really need another triple live OMD record? By the way, I don't think I've ever mentioned this one on my channel. It's like an update here. But I did present a lot of information about this band, as I did with and am doing with John Cale. And the surprising thing to many people is, I guess I'm known as being a Leonard Cohen fan, but still to this day have not done a Leonard Cohen video. So I guess if there's a reason to watch, it could be the knowledge that at some point in the future, I will, in fact, make a Leonard Cohen video. So that could be a reason to watch.
There you go. Good enough for me. 1
It
point.
is 1 point. All right. All right.
All right. Second question. Some could say that this is a little bit self-indulgent, this question, but hey, this is my grilling of the VC. Right. Show a record that Ben Rankins, that's me, I don't like to speak in the third person, it's really weird. So I'll rephrase that to show a record that I like.
Right. So actually, there's a lot of choice here, but I went with the most obvious one. It's like, okay. Ben,
0 points.
The number one, I have a real selection after this. The number one Rush fan. Okay, let's be serious. I guess people who know you know that you're first and foremost, it seems, a proponent of Australian music. Although you have in past shown music from on your channel that is not Australian. You, of course, have your neighbors in New Zealand, and then you have what seems to be a very deep collection of all sorts of fantastic records. But in honor of the Australianness of your channel, I thought I had to pick an Australian artist that you recommended to me. And so far, this is the only record from this band that I was able to find in a local shop. And I have showed it on my channel before, and you will remember that I showed it. But I picked this one out of a number I could have picked: Eddie Current, Suppression Ring, and All in Good Time. And I'm going to forget when this came out. But you probably will remember. But this is a reissue, obviously, on this quite nice, whatever this is.
That a Castle Face one?
You know what? Well, I don't... Yes, it is.
Cool.
So that, you're right. You do like this one, right? Yeah.
I love that one. And exciting news, actually, speaking of Eddie Current, Suppression Ring, in the last week or so, they dropped a film clip on YouTube and have also had another 2 tracks come out. So there's obviously something brewing. So I'm a bit excited that new record on the way. I thought that might have been the last one that you've got because there was a long time between drinks between that and the previous one.
I am indeed looking for the other ones. If I can find them, I'll pick them up.
Yeah. Well, I think after a shaky start, you redeemed yourself. Just stop showing that in case that's the screen grab that people see and they get the wrong idea about this.
I almost chose the one with the brain and the naked guy hemispheres, but I thought that was too much for you, right?
That is.
However,
does my head in that cover.
Now look at the fashion here. I know King of Shirts over there, but look at that. Do you have a kimono?
Well, no, I can't say I do.
So. Oh, and the Neil Peart mustache. Okay, too much Rush probably for this channel.
I know you can't help it. You're Canadian.
It's part of our social contract.
Yes. All right. Well, I'll give you a point for that because you come back hard after a shaky start with the Jerk album. I like that. Like how you chucked a gag in there. Lovely stuff. So you're on a perfect score of 2 for 2 at the moment. Next question. What is the worst record, and you know that it's bad, that you own, but you won't get rid of, and why? And I don't want any sentimental stories of why you won't get rid of it, like this was given to me by my grandmother on her deathbed and all that sort of stuff. It's got to be other reasons.
Well, maybe it's not quite what you're looking for here, but by the way, I don't know how you're going to score this. That'll be interesting. Anyway, here's a record that I have. Here's a record that I have that I won't get rid of because sometimes other people in your life, or in this case, in my house, like a particular record. So I tried to get rid of this record. It was in a pile to go out the door. And when it was reviewed, I was told that I have to keep it. And that is High Infidelity by REO Speedwagon with the monster hit, Keep On Loving You. And so this one, obviously I'm talking about my better half. This is a band that she likes. It fits into her... she likes hair metal. She likes these kinds of ballads, Air Supply, things like that. So I was prevented from getting rid of this. Although I had a second REO Speedwagon record that I got rid of. But this one I had to keep. And some people will object to this because I think there are people who really like this band. They've never really worked for me. I don't know. The videos are strange too. But yeah, I'm keeping this one for extenuating circumstances.
That's pretty solid answer, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, pretty good. Like REO Speedwagon. Yeah, that's a big power ballad, that one. I
I
think
don't
I'll
know.
give you a point for that, Brian. I
A
think
point.
that's
Oh, great.
a worthy
I'm on a
addition.
roll here. I'm on
There
a
was
roll.
no sentimentality. You're keeping it because you have to, basically. So
Yeah.
to keep things smooth.
Right. Although I'm told that I can get rid of all my records if I want to, just not that one.
It's an interesting caveat to that. I think a few of us could be in that position and ask that question. All right, number 4. This is more of a task than a question. So you have 2 options. You have to either apologize convincingly for liking Van Morrison or celebrate with me your dislike of Van Morrison.
Okay, and just so people who are watching know, this wasn't a question I was given in advance.
Oh, you're letting everyone look behind the curtain right now.
So celebrate convincingly my love for Van Morrison, or join you in your revulsion. Look, I think
No. You're conveniently not listening to the question. It's apologize for liking Van Morrison,
yeah,
or celebrate your dislike for Van Morrison.
I don't know if I can apologize for liking Van Morrison, but I will say that he is someone I came to know kind of late, right? So the first album I ever heard from him was Beautiful Vision, which was probably 1984. Now, of course, I knew Brown Eyed Girl and big tracks like that, but I'm going to get 0 on this question, aren't I? Because
You're not doing well.
I will say that in the pandemic era, he became curmudgeonly and probably was a bit of a jerk during that time period. I fully recognize that. And that, he wrote songs that I've never heard, like I heard it on Facebook. I read it on Facebook. Ridiculous songs like that. He joined the Eric Clapton sort of view of the world then, which I think was pretty strange. So I could apologize, but I can't apologize for that because I don't know those songs. I kind of stopped listening to him. I don't even know when the last record was. But I'm gonna. I don't know. I can't apologize.
Wow,
I think he has an okay. First of all, I think he has a great voice. You will know that from his time with them that his voice is, or you must admit at the time it was pretty fantastic, right?
That's like, them are amazing. And his biggest musical crime was when he went solo, and then I heard him scat, and he started sounding like Kermit the Frog.
Well,
and he got very self-important, and his music was very meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say that might surprise Van Morrison fans is I'm not as fond of Astro Weeks as many people are. Many people regard that as one of the finest records or their favorite Van Morrison record. The album doesn't really do a whole lot for me. I like other things better, but
I think that question's backfired on me, and we've ended up talking a lot more about Van Morrison than I planned. If everybody out there, this is an anti-Van Morrison channel who's hosting at the moment. So,
good question.
Leave your hate comments below. All right, this is another one which Brian's already let you behind the curtain, so this is an unprepared one. So we all know and love Vinyl Richie, right?
Yes.
So, as best as you can, do your best. Hello, everybody. Vinyl Richie style.
But I have to walk off screen first.
However you feel comfortable.
Let me see if I get this. Hello, everybody.
Well, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a point for that. Definitely no point for Van Morrison because you really tried to steer that right off in a different direction. So 3 for 4. No, sorry, 4 out of 5 so far.
Still 80%.
So not bad. All right. Next question, number 6. What record would you play to get people to leave your party?
Well, if you were here, I could just put on Van Morrison, right? That would work. But a couple of things came to mind, but the one I gravitated to is one that I've shown before. And I don't know if you know this guy, John Weiss, I don't know how to pronounce it.
How do you spell it?
Wiese.
W-I-E. No, the only Weiss I know is Janet Weiss, the drummer of Slater Kinney.
Oh, yeah, okay. So this is called Soft Punk. It came out in sometime years ago, and it has this lovely stack of Marshall amps that look pink, but on the back, you can see they're simply canvases. So someone painted them. This is a.
I think that's how a lot of 70 stacks actually were, if you walk behind them.
That's right. So this, you shouldn't be mistaken in thinking that this is a punk record, because it isn't. It is abrasive noise and some glitchy sounds. This is a very, very strange record. I bought it blind. It was in a store. It was on sale. I know why it was on sale now. It's interesting. I do listen from time to time, but if I put this on, there would be a revolt or complaints for sure. So when did this, there's no date on this thing, but it is kind of, I would say, to the most people would probably find it unlistenable. But on the other hand, it's beautiful. Look at this pink.
Yeah, it's a nice package, nice artwork.
It's abrasive.
I think I'd like it.
You might. Really noisy, kind of. I think some people would walk away with a headache, possibly a migraine. And it's really weird because it's not what I expected. And the cover gives you a different impression whatsoever. But yeah, this is the one that would just clear the house for sure. You can't dance to it. You can't think to it. You probably can't even digest to it. So when this comes on, your choices are to find earplugs or leave. Really, let's be honest.
I think that you've pushed me over the line to give you a point, especially when you said you can't digest to it. All right, so that's 6 points. You're doing all right.
Right.
Now, this is, you're going to have to think on your feet here. These are 2 rapid fire questions, number 7 and 8. And they're pretty tough, is all I'll say. So the first one is show a record.
Show a record? You mean that I haven't shown already? You mean like this one?
Correct. Pass the first one.
Because by the way, I'm in a place in my house that has no records in it apart from the ones I brought up. So there we go.
Well, that was pretty good. Next
right.
question. It's part 2 of that first question. Don't show a record. Yes.
Oh, I could have shown a book, I suppose, but
however you interpret it, I liked it. Okay, what are we up to? Number 9. Tell a story of the most unusual thing or funniest thing that has happened at a gig you have attended, or even we don't know this one you might have played.
All right. I don't know if this is going to be funny or interesting or unusual, but many years ago, I'm telling you this story for a couple of, for the reason that, maybe for 2 reasons. One, first reason is that it occurred at the Horseshoe Tavern, which you have been to.
Mm-hmm.
So for 2 years running, I volunteered to be work the door for a Rheostatics concert. Rheostatics, interesting band from Etobicoke, Ontario, really cool. They were doing a fundraiser for a school that my daughter was in, and for another school that Dave Bedini, or another band member was in. Dave Bedini's daughter was in, the kid was in the same school as my daughter. And then there was another school they're doing a fundraiser for. That's convoluted. Anyway, so we were collecting money at the door, pay what you can to see the Rheostatics. So I did it the first year. It was really uneventful. And I did it the next year. And of course, I got to meet the band and I got to see the rest of the show. It was great. But the second year I did it, first of all, I was on the door with this guy who used to, I don't know if he still owns the record store, which you went to, Sonic Boom. Remember that? Not Sonic Boom. She Said Boom. Which was the bookstore, record store. So I was working with him.
Where I met Jason.
Yes, exactly. And anyway, so a little later in the evening, we closed down the desk or the welcome at a certain point and then stopped collecting money because we wanted to go in and watch it. So right before that happened, this woman walked in and she looked at me and she started telling me that she was a high school teacher and high school or public school, I can't remember. She was telling me she was a teacher and she was chit-chatting and she wasn't, I thought she'd just give her money and walk on. Then I could tell she had been drinking. She grabbed my head like this and attempted to kiss me. She just drove in, and I went like this, and she got me on the cheek, and she said something. I wish I could remember what she said, but she went like, oh, like that. I turned away, and then we closed down I was going to go, and then I was concerned, should I go in because she's going to be in there? Like, should I go to watch the concert? Should I leave? I went in, I saw her, I stayed away from her, but she was totally plastered. Now, that is the only time in my entire life that someone in any circumstances has attempted to do that.
Wow. I think you're being a bit hard on yourself. I've been around you, and there is a certain amount of just unbridled animal magnetism.
That's crazy talk. Crazy talk.
That is a great story.
It's weird, right?
I like that. That is good. I like how you like a boxer like turned your head and copped it on the side. Like, that was nice. I think that is worthy of another point.
Great.
Doing very well. Okay. What now? All right. Show your favorite music-related fruit or vegetable. Nice.
That's a tough question, but I'm going to have to go with the banana because, as you may know, this is Leonard Cohen eating a banana on the front of I'm Your Man, right?
Beautiful.
Pretty classic. Not only that, we have this iconic cover. So I feel like of all the fruits and vegetables in the world, there's only one that rises to this sort of level of two fantastic musical artists. So, briefly, I thought about the other ones. I mean, what else is there? There's Apple, the Apple Music label. But, I mean, has anyone ever looked cooler than Leonard Cohen there in that Don Johnson Miami Vice suit with the T-shirt and sunglasses, just casually eating a banana? For years, I wouldn't even eat a banana in public, and yet I just took a bite of this one. So
that's when I do my psychology podcast or YouTube channel, we can discuss why you wouldn't eat a banana in public further. It's interesting. But if the powers that be would let me give you 2 points for that question, not only for 2 records and just the presentation of how you answered it, but unfortunately I can only give you 1. But
it's a shame.
You're on 9 points so far. You're doing very well.
I should get a bonus point for that because there's how many album covers feature a banana? I can think of one other one.
Well, you've probably stuffed it all up for everyone in the future who gets interviewed and gets that question.
That's right. Your question should be without repeating previous answers.
Yeah. All right. What are we up to? Number 11. Now, as a fellow record collector, music fan who loves the vinyl, we often bump into the general public who then find out that we have this passion for records and music. And we get this question: can you still buy records? Respond.
Well, first of all, I should say I've never had that question. You mean in terms of people thinking that records are dead and that no one buys records anymore?
Yeah, I've had people come around to my house and be like, can you still get records? And these are people I've known for a long time too, which is surprising.
Well, I honestly have never had that question before. I'm trying to think of what other people say. Usually, and this may seem strange, but I think people are genuinely pleased with the idea because of the nostalgia for records and the whole, the physical formats, the sound. So I'm struggling with that because I don't believe I've had the question. I'm trying to think of something people have said when they found out, and usually they just say,
one of the few.
"Oh, must be." No, I haven't had that question. Once I was talking to someone. Well, my partner and I, Cecile, were talking to someone, and Cecile made some off-the-hand comment about the fact that there were a lot of records in our basement, and she goes, and this woman said, "Yeah, my ex was like that. It was so irritating." So I don't know. It's as close as I can get. I'm waiting for someone to say that. I think by now people know, right? Because have you noticed that when you're watching certain television, I don't know how much TV you watch, but occasionally you will see turntables more than I have ever had in the last 30 years. Like they're often there
Yeah.
in the
It's
program.
funny you should say. I wish I could remember. There was a movie we watched a week or two ago, and it was made in the 80s. And the thing that stood out to me was in the lounge room, there was a fancy stereo, but no turntable.
Yeah, right.
It was in like the late
Yeah.
80s, I think. I can't remember the film, but it was like, it made me think, yeah, every second film or TV show, they always have a turntable now.
I thought you were going to ask if I'd ever been recognized from YouTube, and the answer is no. That's where I
Would
thought
you
you
like
were
me
going.
to ask that one? Yeah, but like you say, it's always been when people are surprised. It's usually a positive thing. I've had
Yeah.
one instance where in a place where I used to live, had a tradie come around to do some work and saw the records, and he's just kind of looked at it and gone, you know, you can download all this stuff now. And I just went, really? The bathroom's over here. That was where the work was being done. Anyway,
Right.
This isn't about me. This is about you.
Right.
The penultimate question before we get to the bonus question now. Now, we wanted to tailor it to certain people. You know, you're from Canada, so I had to ask a Canadian question. Who is your favourite Canadian comedian? John Candy or Leonard Cohen? And I think
that's a
the
very
banana
perceptive.
photo says it justifies that question.
That's a good question because I think many people aren't aware of how funny Leonard Cohen actually was in interviews. I just loved watching interviews with him because he was just hilarious. Leonard Cohen or John Candy? That's a tough one, man. John Candy was brilliant.
Uncle Buck's one of my favorite films.
Oh well, funnily enough, we just watched Canadian Bacon, given certain international circumstances. Do you know that film?
No, I don't know that film.
Well, it features John Candy, but the premise is Alan Alda plays the president of the United States, and he's having trouble getting traction. So, he recognizes that, or his advisors tell him that one way presidents get approval ratings to increase is to start a war. So his idea is to start a war with Canada. So we watched that. But I have to say, of the two, I have to say John Candy. Leonard Cohen's hilarious, but John Candy was just, a classic.
Yep, can't agree more. All right, now the bonus question, and this question is designed to prove that you do have outside interest in the world besides most of us with a myopic pursuit of that record.
Sure.
So it's a geography question.
Oh my God.
What is the biggest city in the state of Victoria outside of Melbourne, Australia? And I'll know if you Google this, because I'll see your eyes lower.
Queensland?
That's a state, man, not a city.
Well, some people I work with did an exchange, and they worked at QUIT. Let me see.
At least if you had said Tasmania, it's a bit closer than Queensland.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to fail. If once you say what it is, I'm going to be like, oh my God, yes, of course.
All right. It's Geelong.
Okay, I wouldn't have known that.
And there is a musical thing, because Geelong is the place which brought us Bored and God, and currently the Anti-Fade label and Magic Jet and all those sort of bands. And just for a bit of extra trivia, the current population is 295,077 people.
And you're saying that's the second largest metropolitan area
outside of Melbourne.
Well, how many people live in Melbourne? How many are in Melbourne?
I think we've actually surpassed Sydney recently with more people. So you weren't supposed to ask that question back without me checking. I'm going to say a lot.
Okay.
If it's more than Sydney, because Sydney had been more populous for a long time, but I think Melbourne has surpassed them.
Okay, well, that's a good answer. That's
millions.
A lot. Yeah. Millions.
How did you turn this into asking me a question? Put me
but less than Toronto for sure, right? Less than Toronto.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Well, I think you did very, very well as the first victim for whatever this is going to be called. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate that.
What was my final score?
Well, just settle down. I was being polite
Oh,
first.
okay, you're getting to it. Okay, fine.
And you actually got a very, very good score of, including the bonus question. You got 11 right
Oh,
out of a possible 13.
that's actually not bad. It's not bad.
Mm, very, very good. So beat that, people out there. Big shoes to fill. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on. I will leave Brian's channel details below in the description. Enjoy that banana. And subscribe if you don't already to the great man. If you love OMD, that is the place to be. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one for the toughest quiz in the vinyl community ever, or whatever this is called. Cheers.
Thank you.